and Evan had spent 5 years building their life together. The kind of relationship where you finish each other's sentences, where weekends blur into lazy mornings, takeout dinners, and whispered dreams about a shared future. They had a wedding date picked out, a playlist half finished, a guest list filled with people who believed, just like Lauren did, that this was it, that this was forever. When Evan got promoted, they celebrated like the team they always were. More travel, more responsibilities, sure. But it was just another chapter they would write together, or so Lauren thought. That's when Mia entered the picture. A co-worker. Younger. Always laughing at Evan's jokes, always conveniently around for those late nights at the office. But Lauren trusted Evan. 5 years had earned that trust, hadn't it? Then came the business trip to Chicago. One night, as Lauren scrolled through her phone, a message popped up from a mutual friend. It was a screenshot, a blurry photo from a bar. Evan, sitting far too close to Mia, their faces lit up with laughter. Bodies leaned into each other in a way you don't fake. In a way you don't hide unless you know you should. Lauren's heart dropped. She stared at the photo for what felt like hours, willing herself to believe it was nothing, just colleagues, just friends. But denial only works when you don't have the receipts. Over the next few days, more messages started to surface. Texts between Evan and Mia, flirting thinly disguised as work jokes. Plans that went far beyond team building, receipts from bars, hotels, 2 glasses of wine, not one. When Evan came home, he kissed her like nothing had changed, asked about wedding venues, and Lauren realized the worst betrayal wasn't just what Evan did. It was the fact that he had no intention of ever telling her. She didn't scream. She didn't accuse. She waited, quietly, gathering every screenshot, every message, building a case for a future that could no longer exist. Then one night, she placed everything on the kitchen table, sat down, looked Evan in the eyes, and, without raising her voice, simply said, "I know." The engagement ended that night. No dramatic speeches, no second chances, just the quiet, irreversible shattering of a future she had once believed in with her whole heart. Because sometimes, the person you thought you were building forever with was already busy building something else without you. Lauren's story is a painful reminder of something we all hope isn't true. Betrayal doesn't always come crashing into your life like a storm. Sometimes it walks in quietly, laughing over drinks, sending casual texts, smiling across boardrooms and hotel bars. Trust isn't broken in one moment. It's broken in 1,000 small choices. Each time someone decides to look at another person the way they used to look at you. Each time they choose excitement over loyalty, thrill over commitment. What makes Lauren's story even more heartbreaking is that Evan wasn't going to tell her. He was going to marry her, smile for wedding photos, make vows he had already broken in secret. And that's the kind of betrayal that cuts the deepest, because it's not just about the act. It's about the knowledge that someone you loved, someone you trusted, didn't even respect you enough to be honest about it. Lauren's strength wasn't just in confronting Evan. Her strength was in the way she chose herself, quietly. Firmly, without begging for explanations she already knew she didn't deserve to have to ask for. Sometimes real strength isn't in fighting for someone to stay. It's in realizing you deserve to walk away. When Lauren's story was shared, it struck a deep chord with so many people. Because betrayal doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just quietly walks away with everything you thought you were building. Let's take a look at some of the most heartfelt comments from Reddit. Comment 1. You trust take seconds. To break. It's not just the act. It's the fact that he was willing to keep lying forever if he hadn't been caught. 27.9K likes. Exactly. Sometimes the real betrayal is in the silence, not the confession. Comment? Oh, deserve. Better. Lauren choosing herself without screaming, without begging, that's real power. 35K likes. So true, walking away quietly takes more strength than most people will ever realize. Comment 3. You, the quiet goodbye. The scariest thing isn't that they cheat. It's that they're capable of acting normal afterward. Chapter 28, 7K likes. Absolutely. That's a kind of deception that cuts much deeper than most realize. Comment. You love. Respect. Love without respect is just manipulation. Lauren deserved a love that honored her, not lied to her. She won 2K likes. Beautifully said, love without honesty isn't love, it's selfishness in disguise. Comment 5. You healing over closure. You don't need their apology to heal. You only need the courage to close the door yourself. 29 8K likes. Exactly, healing is something we claim for ourselves, not something we wait to be given. Reading these comments reminds us trust isn't just a promise, it's a choice we make every day. And when someone breaks that trust, the strongest thing you can do is choose yourself. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to find the strength to walk away, even when you still loved the person standing in front of you? Share your story in the comments. Your words might just be the encouragement someone else needs tonight. He proposed, but I found out the truth. Emotional Reddit story. Every fairy tale starts the same way. Two people meet. They fall in love. They make promises under twinkling lights. Dream of forever and believe with every fiber of their being that nothing could ever tear them apart. But life is messier than the stories we tell ourselves. Because sometimes the person who holds your hand while slipping a ring onto your finger is the same person who's been hiding a truth sharp enough to tear your world in half. Tonight's story isn't about a slow, quiet fading of love. It's not about two people growing apart naturally. No, tonight's story is about deception woven into dreams, about promises made not out of love, but out of guilt, about a future offered with one hand, while the other hand is busy clinging to secrets that were never meant to come to light. This is the story of Olivia, a young woman from San Diego, full of hope, full of trust, full of love. She believed she was living the beginning of her forever. A man she adored, a proposal straight out of a movie, and a dream of a life built on shared laughter, whispered plans, and the kind of love that everyone else envied. But sometimes the most beautiful dreams hide the deepest betrayals. Tonight you'll hear how Olivia's fairy tale began to crack. How behind every perfect photo, every excited call to friends and family, every tearful yes, there was a secret waiting to break everything she thought she knew. Because real heartbreak doesn't always come from someone falling out of love. Sometimes it comes from someone pretending they never did. Grab a warm drink. Find a quiet place where you can feel this story fully. Because tonight's story might just change the way you look at the word forever. Forever isn't a promise. It's a choice. And not everyone who says forever is brave enough to choose it. Olivia met Ethan in the most unexpected way. A crowded bookstore. On a rainy Saturday afternoon in San Diego, she dropped a copy of her favorite novel. He picked it up and made a joke about fate, and just like that, something clicked. Their love story unfolded like a movie montage. Long walks on the beach, coffee dates that stretched into late-night conversations, laughter that felt effortless, plans for a future that felt certain. After 3 years together, Olivia felt like she knew everything there was to know about Ethan. His dreams, his fears, his quirks, that only someone who truly paid attention would notice. So when Ethan proposed during a weekend getaway in Napa Valley, under fairy lights and the crisp autumn air, Olivia didn't hesitate. She said yes, with her whole heart. They called their families their friends, posted pictures of the ring sparkling against the sunset. For a moment, it felt like the universe had aligned just for them. But life has a cruel way of revealing the cracks in even the most perfect pictures. After the proposal, Ethan changed. He became distracted, irritable. He stopped asking about wedding plans. He stopped dreaming out loud the way he used to. Olivia noticed. She noticed the new passwords on his phone, the way he clutched it closer when messages popped up. The hollow excuses for why he couldn't make it to dinner. But love. Love makes you doubt your instincts. It makes you tell yourself that trust is more important than suspicion. Until the night Olivia went looking for an old charger in Ethan's desk and found a second phone. She stared at it, heartbeat thundering in her ears. Hands shaking, she unlocked it. And there it was. Messages to another woman. Long conversations. Weekend getaways. Future plans whispered to someone else, the same way he had once whispered them to her. Olivia sat there for what felt like hours, reading the slow betrayal unfold, word by word. Her engagement ring felt heavier with every new message. Her chest ached with a kind of sadness she didn't even know had a name. When Ethan came home that night, she didn't yell, she didn't cry. She simply held up the phone and asked in a voice barely above a whisper, "Quiet, Ethan." The man who had gotten down on one knee and promised her forever stood there frozen. He stammered excuses, half-lies stitched together with panic, until finally he said the words that shattered everything completely. "I thought proposing would fix things between us." Fix things, as if a ring could erase a year's worth of betrayal, as if a promise made in fear could ever replace the trust that had already been broken. That night, Olivia took off the engagement ring, packed her things, and walked out of the life she had once been so sure of. Not because she stopped loving him, but because she finally understood. Love without trust is just a story we tell ourselves until the truth demands to be heard. Olivia's story teaches us one of the hardest lessons about love. Love can exist without trust, but it cannot survive without it. We are taught to believe that love conquers all, that if you care enough, fight hard enough, forgive deeply enough, everything can be fixed. But real love, the kind that endures, is built not just on feelings. It's built on honesty, on loyalty, on the small, quiet choices to choose your person. Again and again, even when no one is watching. Ethan's betrayal wasn't just in the messages he sent. It wasn't even in the second phone hidden away. It was in the moment he chose to cover a wound with a ring instead of confronting the truth. Because proposing isn't a fix. You don't heal betrayal with promises you have no intention of keeping. Olivia's strength wasn't in exposing Ethan. It was in the way she refused to let a glittering ring blind her to a future built on lies. It takes incredible bravery to walk away from the life you once dreamed of, from the man you once believed in, and choose yourself instead. Because sometimes love isn't about how much you feel. It's about how much you respect yourself. Enough to know when to stop fighting for someone who wasn't fighting for you. When Olivia's story was shared, it struck a deep chord with thousands of people, because betrayal wrapped in promises feels heavier than any goodbye ever could. Let's take a look at some of the most powerful comments from Reddit. Comment: "You love needs trust." You can love someone with your whole heart and still have to leave them when trust is gone. 28 4K likes. Exactly. Love without trust isn't love. It's just heartbreak waiting to happen. Comment: "You false fairy tales." The most painful lies are the ones hidden behind smiles, proposals, and promises of forever. 31K likes. So true. Sometimes the brightest beginnings hide the darkest truths. Comment 3. Who she chose. Herself. Olivia didn't just leave Ethan. She chose herself, her dignity, her peace, her future. 31.7K likes. Absolutely, walking away takes courage. Most people will never understand. Comment: "For you, no fixing broken." Trust. You can't fix a broken foundation with a shiny ring. You fix it with honesty, or you don't fix it at all. 29.5K likes. Exactly. No amount of glitter can hide the cracks underneath. Comment 5. You healing without them. Real closure doesn't come from hearing "I'm sorry." It comes from realizing you deserve better. 32.3K likes. Perfectly said. Healing begins the moment you stop waiting for an apology. Reading these comments reminds us sometimes the bravest love story you'll ever tell is the one where you loved deeply and then loved yourself enough to walk away. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to make the painful choice to leave, even when your heart begged you to stay? Share your story in the comments. Your courage might just be the hope someone else needs tonight. She said it was just work, but I found the truth. Emotional Reddit story. We all believe we know the people we love. We trust in the promises whispered late at night, in the dreams built side by side, in the everyday moments that quietly say, I choose you. But what happens when the person you trusted most starts choosing someone else without ever telling you? Tonight's story isn't about explosive betrayal. It's not about someone getting caught in the middle of a dramatic affair. It's about something much quieter and much more dangerous. This is the story of Marcus, a man who stood beside the woman he loved through the hardest years of their lives. He believed in her dreams, supported her every step of the way, built a life around the simple, unwavering belief, we are a team. But sometimes, the people we trust most forget what it means to be a team. Tonight's story will remind you, betrayal doesn't always announce itself with shouting or slammed doors. Sometimes, it slips into your life through late-night emails, secret smiles at company parties, and quiet choices made again and again, until one day you realize you're the only one still fighting for a future that's already gone. Grab a drink. Find a quiet place, because tonight's story will stay with you long after the final words are spoken. Marcus and Jenna had been through it all together. College loans, cramped apartments, nights spent dreaming about careers they hadn't even started yet. When Jenna got her big break, a senior management role at a top firm in Boston, Marcus was her biggest cheerleader. He was there with champagne when she got the call. He was there moving boxes when they relocated for her job. He was there in every way that mattered, because that's what love looks like. Being proud of someone, even when it means putting your own dreams on pause. At first, everything felt like it was falling into place. They celebrated Jenna's new role, toasted to new beginnings. But slowly, things started to shift. Jenna stayed late at work more and more. Business trips became more frequent. Dinners together turned into hurried text messages. And then there was Ryan, the coworker who was just so easy to work with. The one whose name started slipping into conversations a little too often. Marcus noticed. He noticed the extra effort Jenna put into getting ready for team dinners. The way she smiled at her phone a little too long, but he told himself it was nothing, because that's what trust does. It convinces you to stay silent when your heart starts whispering that something is wrong. Then one night, Jenna forgot to log out of her work email on their shared iPad. Marcus wasn't snooping. He wasn't even looking for anything. But there it was, a folder named Personal, hidden, tucked away like a secret someone wanted to forget existed. Curiosity, or maybe intuition, pulled him in. What he found inside broke him in ways he hadn't known were possible. Hundreds of emails between Jenna and Ryan. Flirtatious jokes. Long conversations about dreams and frustrations. Conversations Marcus thought were reserved for him. Plans for drinks. Late-night hotel meetups during business trips. And photos. Photos that spoke louder than any confession ever could. That night when Jenna came home, Marcus didn't yell. He didn't throw accusations across the room. He simply looked at her, heartbroken, silent, and said, I saw everything. Jenna broke down. She begged. She apologized. She swore it only happened once. But Marcus had read the hundreds of emails. He knew better, because betrayal isn't a single mistake. It's a choice, made over and over again, in every message. Every meeting, every lie told by omission. And in that moment, Marcus understood something with brutal clarity. Love can survive distance. It can survive hardship, but it cannot survive a heart that forgot how to choose you. That night, Marcus chose himself. He chose honesty. He chose to walk away, not because he stopped loving Jenna, but because he realized she had stopped loving him the moment she chose someone else. Marcus's story shows us a kind of heartbreak that many people never talk about enough. Because sometimes betrayal isn't loud, it's not a dramatic affair exposed in the middle of a fight. Sometimes betrayal is silent. It's in the small choices, the late-night laughs shared with someone else, the secrets tucked away in hidden folders, the private jokes that once belonged to you and now belong to someone else. And the cruelest part, it's not just what Jenna did. It's that she tried to live two lives at once, smiling at Marcus over breakfast, while texting someone else goodnight. Real betrayal isn't about one night or one mistake. It's about the slow erosion of trust. Choice after choice. Lie after lie. Until one day, the person standing in front of you is a stranger wearing the face you used to love. Marcus's strength wasn't just in confronting the truth. It was in his refusal to stay quiet, to shrink himself down for the sake of an illusion. Because real love, the kind worth fighting for, doesn't hide in late-night emails. It doesn't require secrets to survive. Sometimes the most heartbreaking decision you'll ever make is to love yourself enough to walk away from someone who no longer deserves to stand beside you. When Marcus's story was shared, it resonated with so many people. Because sometimes the deepest heartbreaks aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones that happen quietly, in the spaces where trust used to live. Let's take a look at some of the most powerful comments from Reddit. Comment 1. You trust breaks quietly. Betrayal doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just quietly replaces you, message by message. 29 7K likes. Exactly. Some betrayals don't explode. They erode you, piece by piece. So, comment. You choosing yourself. Marcus's real strength wasn't in catching her. It was in choosing himself afterward. 31 2K likes. So true. Walking away with your dignity intact is the real victory. Tyrone. Comment 3. You mistakes have patterns. It's never just one mistake. Real betrayal happens in patterns, not accidents. 28 9K likes. Absolutely. A mistake happens once a pattern is a choice again and again. Comment 4. You love needs honesty. You can love someone and still leave them, because love without honesty is just pain in disguise. 35K likes. Beautifully said. Love without truth is just slow heartbreak. Comment 5. You walking away is power. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is walk away, not because you stopped loving them, but because you started loving yourself more. 32 8K likes. Exactly. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. So, reading the